Well, I must say that this is a pretty weird episode that episode 46 of Dragon Ball Super gave us, so let's get straight into this review. So, starting off with this episode, taking back from episode 45, Goku must defeat Copy-Vegeta within 3 minutes in order to save Vegeta's life, and in order to do so, Potojutsu mentions that they have to defeat the Copy-Vegeta's nucleus so that they can weaken Copy-Vegeta, which would pretty much take away the fun of the fight because everybody was pretty much looking forward to seeing Goku rise above the occasion like he always does in order to defeat Copy-Vegeta, instead of having an alternate event alter what was supposed to originally happen and give the fans what they want and give us an excuse of how to win the fight itself. But we later move on to the other elements of the fight where we see Goku fighting Copy-Vegeta, and during the time that they're fighting him, the superhuman water was moving around, and it was just about to absorb Trunks when Vegeta jumps in the way to help, save Trunks' life. And as he's doing this, Monaka steps on the nucleus, which allows the Copy-Vegeta to be weakened, allowing Goku to finish him off. And right after this, Potojutsu seals the water away. So now that we have all of the plot elements out of the way, it's time to actually analyze the episode. Going through the action sequences, I must say that the action sequences really honestly didn't look that bad. It just felt as if it was a little bit non-creative in the sense that they weren't really adding anything new to the fight. We were just seeing the same generic punches and kicks and attacks that we've always seen in Dragon Ball. It didn't add an element of surprise. We didn't see Vegeta doing a final flash. We did see him using the Gallic Gun previously from the previous episode, but I don't think that they went as much in depth as they could have experimenting with what Copy-Vegeta could do, considering the fact that he has all of Vegeta's attacks. Now, when we move on to some of the interesting details, just like the Frieza saga, this was probably the longest 3 minutes I've ever seen, and interestingly enough, I found it super weird when Potojutsu was telling Vegeta that he could pretty much put this pacifier in his mouth, and that's pretty much going to stop him from disappearing, and he uses this excuse that, over 100 years ago, I knew about this, but I don't know about this now, and he completely forgot about it. But it's kind of like, well, you're just pretty much using this pacifier as an excuse to just save and keep Vegeta alive longer, when in fact that's taking away tension itself. The whole point of the fact that Goku had to defeat Copy-Vegeta within 3 minutes, that added tension towards the fight, so it pretty much reduces tension by doing so. And in order for that, I just also thought that it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Majin Buu saga, in the sense that this superhuman water kind of entraps you and then it kind of absorbs you into the new being, similar to how Majin Buu was absorbing Gotenks, Gohan, Piccolo, and the rest. So I kind of felt that they were kind of using old elements of Dragon Ball Z in this episode, and I just kind of felt that the tension was just not executed properly. Now, when we move on to the animation, the Super Saiyan Blue Copy-Vegeta looked extremely weird. In my honest opinion, Goku didn't really seem like he was fighting at his absolute best to save Vegeta's life, in the sense that, Goku pretty much could have just gone Super Saiyan Blue from the very beginning and didn't even waste his time fighting in his base form. I felt if he had gone straight into his Super Saiyan Blue form and actually seemed like he was trying to go all out, that would have made the fight seem more interesting. But it seemed like Goku was kind of just testing Copy-Vegeta, and meanwhile Vegeta's disappearing, and meanwhile Vegeta is actually, in a weird sense, following his normal personality, in the element that pretty much he's wanting Goku to fail in some sense against Copy-Vegeta because he has confidence in his own body. So that's kind of where I felt the episode was going in two weird directions. But, to move on to some of my memorable moments of this episode, I thought a funny moment was when Jocko was pretty much upset that the superhuman water had no interest in absorbing him and was completely chasing after Trunks and Goten. I thought that was a funny scene because it kind of shows you that Jocko, obviously has confidence in himself as a galactic patrolman, even though his status is pretty much pale in comparison to what, the characters that we know are pretty much capable of doing. And the other memorable moment, as I mentioned before, would obviously have to be the fact that Vegeta would sacrifice himself to save Trunks. Obviously, this is showing a lot of development for Vegeta. We saw this in the Buu saga as well. But the only thing is since this was such a condensed, quickly paced episode that pretty much was resolved as soon as Monaka stepped on that nucleus, I just felt that it pretty much didn't add anything because Vegeta was going to do something notable for only a few seconds. So pretty much, guys, I'm gonna have to give this episode 2 stars. I had a lot of problems with it. It had decent, you know, animation for the most part, except for the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, and that's not really animation, that's really character design. And also, with all of the falsified senses of tension, this episode just wasn't that interesting to do, and I thought it was going to be more interesting. I was looking more forward to seeing Goku doing more with Copy-Vegeta, but that just wasn't the case. Monaka stepping on a nucleus just pretty much neutralized everything else, and that's pretty much the end of this little filler-esque arc of Dragon Ball Super. So, I give it 2 stars. The action was decent, but that's pretty much all I can really give this episode for the positives. So, as for my predictions for episode 47, the highlight of this episode, wow, this was awesome. I feel the complete shift in Dragon Ball Super already without even watching the next episode. We're seeing Trunks running away in his timeline, and in addition, I also thought it was interesting how we saw Bulma being seen for like a split second, like as if she was in some sort of lab. A lot of people are speculating that that scarf that Trunks has is actually Bulma's, and a lot of people were speculating that that was Bulma's scarf from the present timeline that we know. But in the actual preview itself, Trunks was pretty much mentioning that this is taking place after the fact that the androids were defeated and after the future had its peace. So guys, this is not the present time Trunks that we know. It was already said before that Toriyama confirmed that it was pretty much going to be the future Trunks, but some people still speculated it, and now we know the truth. And interestingly enough, I like the fact that they didn't actually show Black Goku just yet. We just saw some silhouettes moving around, and I thought that that really added a lot of tension for the next episode. I'm stoked. I am buzzed to see this in upcoming episode of Dragon Ball Super coming next week, and I'm sure many of you guys are too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode 46 review and my episode 47 predictions. Pretty much for my episode 47 predictions, I predict that we will see evil Black Goku at the very end of the episode, and they're going to pretty much just show us Trunks' story with a small snippet of our present timeline. So I hope you guys enjoyed, so please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys. And for our hashtag of the day, I have Future Trunks Hype.